The 9 to 5. For so many of us, it feels less like a career and more, well, like a cage. We're told it's the only way, but that feeling of burnout, that's real. And that nagging sense that life is happening somewhere else without you, yeah, that's real too. But what if? What if we could redesign the entire equation?
And this right here, this is such a crucial distinction. Think about it. The problem probably isn't the work itself. It's the life that the traditional 9 to 5 forces on us. The rigid routine, the lack of freedom. Really understanding that difference is the very first step toward a totally radical change in thinking.
I mean, who hasn't felt that? That Sunday night dread. It's that pit in your stomach, right? That shared feeling of discontent is exactly what pushes so many people to search for an escape from that unfulfilling cycle.
Then, back in 2007, this book by Tim Ferriss just dropped like a bomb. And it wasn't just another productivity guide. No way. It was more like a manifesto. It challenged a core belief that most of us just accept, that the 9 to 5 grind is a necessity, not a choice. It basically kicked the door wide open to a completely different way of life.
So what's the central idea here? Well, it starts with totally redefining what it means to be rich. It's not about having $1 million in the bank. It's about creating the lifestyle people think $1 million buys them. And what's that? Freedom. And this chart just lays it out perfectly, the old way versus the new rich. On one side, you have the deferrers who follow the traditional path, right? Work for decades to maybe enjoy life when you retire. But the new rich, they completely flip that script. They prioritize taking mini retirements now, throughout their lives. It's about focusing on experiences over just owning stuff. For them, the ultimate currency isn't money, it's time and freedom. This brings us to this core practice, lifestyle design. And this isn't about getting lucky. It's about intentionally becoming the architect of your own life. And the main building blocks you use, they're not a bigger salary. They're those new currencies, time and mobility. Okay, so if that's the philosophy, what are the tools? How do you actually do it? Because this isn't about being lazy. It's about being incredibly effective. It's all about working smarter, not just harder. The first tool, and maybe the most crucial one, is elimination. And this is all guided by the 80-20 rule. You probably heard of it. It's the idea that roughly 80% of your results come from just 20% of your efforts. So the key is to identify that vital 20%. The clients, the tasks, the projects that really matter, and then just ruthlessly cut out the rest. Stop being busy and start being productive. Now, for all the tasks you can't eliminate, you automate. I love this quote from Ramit Sethi. It's perfect. Automation isn't about avoiding work. It's about buying back your time and your energy from all those draining tasks so you can focus on what actually moves the needle. So what does this actually look like in practice? Well, just think about all the hours you lose every week managing your calendar, digging through your inbox, or updating sales reports. These are prime candidates for delegation to someone else, like a virtual assistant. Outsourcing these tasks frees up your week to focus on high-level strategy, not all the low-level stuff. Now, this all sounds incredible, I know, but it's so important to ground this dream in reality. Escaping the 9 to 5 isn't some magic trick. It comes with its own very real set of challenges. 1,000. That's the number of messy days that researchers found often come before success for people who escape the 9 to 5. Let that sink in. That's nearly 3 years of struggle and uncertainty. It's a pretty sobering reality check against the fantasy of some overnight escape. And yeah, this really reinforces that point. Critics often note that the promise of a 4-hour week tends to gloss over the immense effort required to build the systems that make it possible in the first place. Setting up automated income streams and finding reliable people to delegate to requires a huge initial investment of hard work. And this brings us to the real objective. It's not about trying to escape responsibility, not at all. It's about being strategic with your energy, shifting it away from low-value tasks and toward work that actually builds your skills, your income, and your quality of life. So what does this all mean for you? It means taking these principles, elimination, automation, and a whole new definition of wealth, and using them to design your own version of an escape. Because ultimately, the 4 hours isn't a literal goal for everyone. Its real value is as a catalyst. It's a provocative challenge to get you to question the default path that we're all just handed. It forces us to stop and ask, is this really the only way? Is the 40-hour, 40-year plan the best we can do? And that leaves us with a final question. Maybe the goal isn't just working less, but creating the space to do work that is truly meaningful to you. So if you could redesign your life around freedom, what would you do with it? What passions would you finally pursue?